Scott, what is the latest in your polling on Biden versus Trump?
Numbers tell us it's a toss-up. 44% say they're going to vote for Joe Biden, 43% for former President Trump. About as close as you can get. One interesting thing in these numbers is when we ask people, okay, who do you think is going to win? Not who you're going to vote for. When we ask voters, they, by a pretty wide margin, a 12-point margin, say we believe that Donald Trump is going to be the victor in November. But remember last week we spoke about that elite 1%. They live in those densely populated urban areas, earn a lot of money, and have a postgraduate degree. They see the world differently on everything. And when they look at the same polling showing there's a toss-up race for the president, they think, 62% of them anyhow, think Joe Biden's got this. He's going to win in November. So once again, the elites and everyday Americans seeing different worlds.
And who do you think will win?
Well, if you will tell me what the world is like in November, I'll tell you who's going to win. The biggest single indicator, I mean, look, right now it is a toss-up. People who are obsessing about, a certain demographic group are just missing the point. There's a long way to go to Election Day. The way people feel about the economy between now and November will decide who moves into the White House.
All right, so right now, economists are telling us we should feel good about what's going on in the economy. I'm wondering if they've been to the grocery store recently, but I want to know what you found out, what people think.
Well, people don't feel very good about the overall economy. Not surprisingly, they also feel not great about their personal finances, although they feel better about their own situation than they do the economy overall. But in political terms, the most important indicator is how people feel about their personal finances. And let's face it, half of America lives paycheck to paycheck. This is a very real issue when you go to the grocery store or go to fill up your gas tank. Only 19% of voters today tell us that they're feeling that their personal finances are getting better. 44% say worse. That 19% number is the lowest we've seen in a couple of years, and it's trending worse. So it's going in the opposite direction of what the economists think.
How about this? Is your income keeping up with inflation? We keep hearing inflation everywhere we go.
Only 20% of voters are saying yes. Again, that number is getting worse. And this is one of the disconnects with the experts. They keep telling us, well, inflation is coming down. Well, people aren't seeing it. And look, there's this whole discussion about the economists say we're looking at the data. People should feel good about the economy. What's wrong with the voters? I think that's the wrong question. I think the question is, what's wrong with the data? Our systems for measuring the economy were established over 100 years ago, before we had a digital era, before we had a gig economy. There's been a divergence between numbers of different surveys from the government on jobs and other things. So I think what you have to do at this point is recognize that voters are unhappy. They are living in the economy, and their displeasure is more of an indicator than the official statistics.
And then it makes you feel worse when you hear something on the news telling you, well, you should feel great, right? All right, let's go to that age-old question now. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? What do people say?
The answer is very similar to when Ronald Reagan asked that in the Jimmy Carter debate. 33% of people are saying, yeah, I'm better off. So that's a pretty weak number if you're a president looking for re-election. And this is also part of the frustration I think some professionals are saying. They're thinking Joe Biden should win. They're thinking the economy, they're looking at the numbers and saying it should be good. But voters don't think they're better off than they were 4 years ago. If that number doesn't change, Donald Trump will win in November.